Back here for our second interview live from Radio Row ahead of Super Bowl 57. Joe Ceraulo here on Ceraulo Sports Talk. And joining me like he does every year at Radio Row, former Tampa Bay Bucs center, Randy Grimes.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Always good to see you.
And we also got your pal Scott Stevens.
Yeah,
Scott,
yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
You bet. It's a privilege.
It's great to meet you. I loved your time with the New Jersey Devils. I'm a big Devils fan. So Scott Stevens, I hear that name, and I go crazy thinking about the Hall of Famer. So, Scott, you and Randy are here today to talk about sudden cardiac arrest, correct?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about it and what you guys are here to promote.
Well, I lost my son to sudden cardiac arrest. He was a 6'9", 300-pound high school kid getting ready to go play college football and took a nap one day and didn't wake up. And we started a heart screening foundation called CodyStevensFoundation.org in Texas. We have a law passed in Texas that when students get a physical, they can get an ECG, and we need that passed all across the nation.
Absolutely agree. And you said CodyStevensFoundation.org?
Correct. And Stevens is spelled with a PH.
And head on over there and learn more about a great cause that you guys are here to promote. Randy, you've also, last year, I know what you were going around talking about. But
yeah, I released my book last year.
I still want to give it some love. It might
Off
be
center.
The book. You gave me a copy, and I enjoyed it, man. It took
good.
Less than a week to get through that.
I need you to leave a review on Amazon, though. So
hey, you know what? If you ask me,
I need that. I need that. It's big with Amazon. But yeah, last year at the Super Bowl in LA, we released Off Center. There's something for everybody in that book. I encourage everybody to read it, but it's, my story about the Bucs and my time there and how my addiction started and how it affected my family. And the cool thing about the book is that everybody in my family had a platform in it. And it was a healing process for the Grimeses. So I'm really proud of the way it turned out. And then, of course, the work that I do with the NFL at proathletesinrecovery.org. Working with the Player Care Foundation, helping guys with their substance abuse and mental health issues.
And Randy, it's all great stuff that you're doing, man. Now, you mentioned your time with the Bucs. I want to talk about your Bucs a little bit.
Yeah.
Tom Brady just retired for the second time. It looks like it'll be the final retirement for Tom Brady.
We think, yeah.
What do you think about what he did a year ago, retiring and then unretiring? Obviously, this year going 8-9, being a quick out in the playoffs. Did he hurt that franchise with last year?
I don't think so. That's a tough thing to do, to retire. And, you have to step away from the game for a minute to realize how much you miss it, and it's not so much even being out on the field. It's that locker room and that camaraderie that's in everything that goes along with being a team member. So, I'm sure when he got away from that, and he's probably going through that right now as well, because retirement is retirement. But, man, I can remember when I didn't have that uniform anymore. I didn't have that helmet. When I wasn't Randy Grimes, the football player, anymore, I struggled for a while to find out who I was, because everything I'd done up to that point was Randy Grimes, the football player.
Right, and so that's a great point, because how much does that identity crisis or lack of identity affect these guys when you think when it comes to things like substance abuse, like what you were dealing with? Do you think your lack of identity as a man and not just as a football player played a big part in that?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know how to be an employee, a husband, a father, a neighbor without being Randy Grimes, the football player, without having that playbook to go by, that itinerary to go by every day. So, yeah, it's a big adjustment. It's not just the athletes. We as Americans, we don't transition well, whether it's leaving college and can't find a job, or it's a broken home or a broken marriage. It's CEOs retiring from jobs, we lose that identity because we let work or whatever our passion is become who we are instead of just something we're good at.
Randy, that's a great point, man. I couldn't have said it better myself. Now, when you look at Tampa Bay and the future of the organization, obviously Tom Brady's out. Todd Bowles, seeing him as the head coach much longer, it doesn't seem like the best situation. Byron Leftwich is out as the offensive coordinator. Leftwich was everyone's favorite to be a head coach an off-season ago, and now he can't even get an OC job in the NFL.
It's a short walk from the penthouse to the outhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, you're telling me. What do they do moving forward? Who's the quarterback? Is it Kyle Trask? Do they draft?
I don't know. I don't think they really know right now. And I think there's some things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about with Trask and all that. So be interesting to see what happens. But I feel pretty confident they'll get it worked out. They got a great GM. They've been able to bring in some great players over the years and made some great deals. And hopefully this offseason won't be any different.
So talking about quarterbacks, you got two great quarterbacks in this game, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Randy,
both Texas boys.
Both Texas boys. Isn't half the NFL? Come on.
Well, probably. Yeah, you're right.
How do you see this one unfolding? The storyline of the week is going to be the battle in the trenches. And you
were
a center. You were in that battle every week for high school, college, a decade in the NFL for years. How do you see that battle unfolding? Chiefs have a pretty good O-line. Eagles have the best D-line. Who has the advantage?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an old school smash mouth style football, and that's whoever wins in the trenches is going to win. I'm an NFC guy. I love the Eagles' offensive line. They've got some great cohesiveness. They've been playing together for a while. They've been fortunate to not have any major injuries, and right now I'm saying the Eagles by a touchdown.
Oh wow! Now, Randy, as a center yourself, are we looking at the two best centers in football right now, Jason Kelce and Creed Humphrey?
I think we are. I think we're right now. Yeah, I agree.
Jason Kelce and Chris Jones. That's a matchup I cannot wait to see. Jones with the 2 sacks against Cincinnati. Scott, I want to get.
And he's just running over people.
I mean,
it's not like any great moves. Yeah, he's just throwing people into the quarterback.
He's great. Scott, I want to get your take on the game before we wrap this up, man. How do you see this one unfolding?
I'm going with Jalen Hurts and the Channelview, Texas boy, and watched him grow up. I watched his dad's a friend of mine. And he's a wonderful young man, and I've got a pull for him. So I'm going with the Eagles all the way.
Last interview, I had both guests on the Chiefs. This one, both on the Eagles. Randy,
what's your pick?
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Until Friday. I got to get people tuning in all week. But before we go, last question. This Eagles D-line, this Eagles defense, had the most sacks of any defense since the 85 Bears. You went up against those 85 Bears.
Yeah, they didn't have that many sacks on us. So. No.
You guys sure as hell didn't.
Right. The fridge. Of course, there were some great defensive lines. You had Dent, you had Hampton, you had Mac. Mac.
Randy, I was born in 1990.
Come on.
I'm not going to help you out on that one.
and anyway. And the fridge. So Singletary was right there in the middle of it all. It was a great defensive
college teammate.
Yeah. He broke 4 helmets in his career, and 2 of them were on me.
I remember that. I think we told me 6 years ago, the first time we met.
But it's going to be a tough day. There's no days off in NFL, and this Sunday's not going to be any exception for both offensive lines. They've got some tough defensive players over there that are good at getting to the quarterback.
Randy Grimes, Scott Stevens, guys, thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
We'll be back on Ceraulo Sports Talk ahead of Super Bowl 57.